morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Terry White, Worldwide Design and Photography Evangelist. I am joined by the one and only Mark Heaps, professional. What was that? Professional designer?
Professional creative.
Professional creative. That's it. He does creative stuff professionally.
It was such a weird title. You are probably like so many of us. You've been doing this for so long. When people go, "What do you do? Like, are you a graphic designer? Are you a web designer? Are you a print designer?" And I just go, "Dude, I've been doing this for 27 years. I'm just a professional creative." And it's exactly that. It's like people pay me for what I do.
And that's a good way to put it, because so my official title is Adobe Evangelist, but it's like I've been doing this for 20 something years, and I do professional stuff.
Yeah, I had someone say once, "Oh, you're a creative professional," and I said, "No, that's like a business manager who has like interesting ideas. People pay me for my creativity." It's like if someone says you're a professional guitarist, you get paid to play guitar.
Absolutely. So we have a bunch of people joining us already. Over
Awesome.
150 people in the chat. People chiming in from all over the world, including Lee from looks like Canada. I saw someone from Egypt, Cairo, Egypt. Ahmed, welcome everyone. Defer, Victoria, Sandeep, Horst, welcome. So today, Mark and I are going to take a look at one of the new features in InDesign that just got released literally today at midnight my time last night. 9 p.m. Pacific time yesterday. We're going to be taking a look at one of the newer collaboration features in InDesign. Now, Mark, before we jump into that, I know you. I'm sure a lot of your fans are here that know you. Tell the people that don't know you, what is it that you do besides being a professional creative? What else do you do?
A mixture of things. My wife and I run a design service group out of Austin, Texas, and we're most known for doing presentation design, which is sort of this abstract genre of the design field, right? But if anybody's ever seen TED Talks or CEOs give a keynote, things like that, we specialize in that. So we get to play in all the Microsoft tools, all the Adobe tools, all the cloud sharing tools, collaborate with people around the world. And then outside of that range of things, I'm a big nerd for working at conferences, which is how we became friends and got connected, speaking at Adobe Max and Photoshop World and Creative Pro Week. So yeah, that's a lot of what we do, but this is what I've always done. I've got kids that my oldest is 11 years old, and she's like, "Hey Dad, how did you decide you were going to be a designer?" And I was like, I don't remember making that decision, but I do remember being like 7 or 8 years old and tracing logos and being sort of fascinated with geometry and things like that. So this is kind of always who I've been, man.
Very, very cool. All right, so we don't have a ton of time to chit chat and talk, but it's always great when I can bring on a guest, especially someone as experienced as Mark. And I asked Mark specifically, like I sent him a text in the middle of the night saying, "Mark, I want to show the collaboration feature. Are you free on Tuesday at any time that we can do this?" And he's free. So because I need another person to really make it real.
Yep.
Mark is in Texas. I'm in Atlanta. And we're going to make this as real as it can be. So I've got an InDesign document I'm about to show you. I'm going to share that InDesign document to Mark, and Mark is going to be able to mark it up via his web browser. So let me switch over to my desktop so you guys can see what we're talking about. Let me go to my desktop here. And
playing with your new streaming platform.
Yeah, my new streaming platform. All right. So here's the document. I'm in InDesign already. I've opened up a multiple page document. One that I've used for years. It's one that I use to show how to make an EPUB. We've had this document for several years as a demo file, and it's going to make a good file for this because there's multiple pages, and therefore there's lots of room for things for Mark to comment on and mark up. Now, there's already a comment feature in InDesign. It's PDF comments. Mm-hmm. So I've shown this before. I've shown it many times. It's where you just simply make a PDF of the document, email or send the PDF to whoever you want. And then when you're ready, you can import those PDF comments in the PDF comment panel. And everyone's comments from all the different PDFs will show up here, and you can act on those comments. But that's kind of an after the fact thing. In other words, I have to create the document, create the PDF, send it out, and wait. So I got to wait for everyone's feedback. I got to wait for people to email me the PDF back. I have to go hound people to do it. I have to go do all those things in a typical review. So we're not taking that away. That's actually a good feature for that. I don't need it right now. I don't need to know the answer right now. I don't need your feedback right now. I just need your feedback by a deadline. And by that deadline, I'll look at all the PDFs. So that's a great feature for that. However, in the case where I'm at deadline, I want a second eye on this document, second set of eyes on this document, and Mark's on a phone call or a Zoom call, and I want Mark to kind of go through it and share with me any feedback. Now, Mark may not be a Creative Cloud member. Mark may not have InDesign. Mark may not even know what InDesign is.
Right.
That's the whole point of this next feature, is because it's browser based. So anyone that you send this document to will get a link, and they can just simply create their comments and markup in real time in the browser, and you'll get that feedback in InDesign.
Yeah.
All right, so how do we start that review process? There's a share icon in the upper right corner here in InDesign that's been there for a while now. And it's also, let me back out. It's also kind of consolidating all the different ways to share. So quick export as PDF, package, share for review, publish online, and export. So the InDesign team in this release kind of consolidated all those things in this one spot, so that you can just think share. Okay, how do I want to share it? Whichever way you want. So the new way is share for review. You can also get to it from the file menu. You can choose file, share for review there. It'll bring up the same panel no matter which way you do it. So if I do it there, it brings up this panel. It lets you put in a title. So it's the name of the document from, I could say, from Terry White, so they know who it's from. I'll click create. And then it's now basically making a web page version of this and uploading it on the fly. So it's kind of doing all of this in the background for you. So you don't have to be a web developer. You don't have to think about any of that. It just made a web version for you on the fly. Now, you can make it invite only, where you you actually add the people email by email. Or I can just say, make it public. And here's my link. And I can just copy that link and go share that link any way I want. Share it on social media, share it on an email, share it with a messenger app. And I have my email program on the other screen. I'm just going to go ahead and paste that link in. I know you're not seeing that because we don't want to expose Mark's email address.
I appreciate that.
We don't have his email address, but that's what it looks like. I just have Mark Heaps. His email is under that. This is the review while we're live, and I just pasted that link in, and we're going to go ahead and send that link off. Okay, so Mark's going to go check his email now.
I am. Let me go see. And it's already here. I just got it.
And he got his email.
So you can even see that on my screen.
Oh, hang on. Let me share your screen.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited about this feature because I would say, yep, there it is.
So there's Mark's email. He's got that email. I just sent him with the link. So what happens when you click it?
Boom. It says your work, Adobe Creative Cloud, opening document. And there we go.
There's my document. Now, I'm going to go to my screen because it's something more important that I want you to show.
Okay.
Or I want you to show people.
Right.
But Mark can start the markup process, and we're going to come back to Mark to see how he's doing those. But I want you to see on the InDesign side what happens. So let me go back to my screen. And here's the other thing that took me a minute to find it. It took Mark a minute to find it too. Under the window menu, we're like where's review? Where's the review panel? It's the comments panel. There's the PDF comments and now review comments. So I'm going to bring that panel open.
Okay.
Get out of my share screen. So now it says I have no comments because Mark hasn't made one yet.
Right.
So Mark's in the process of making the comments somewhere on some random page. I have no idea what the comment's going to be.
Yep. So I'm making that right now. So I'm just going to go in here and say.
All right. And hello, Colleen in South Africa. Hello, William. Hello, Mustafa.
All right, I submitted my
From the
comment.
Netherlands, Dory, how are you? Okay, so Mark just made a comment, and he says, love this logo. I have no idea what logo he's talking about, so I can click on it, and actually, I can see him marking this up. It'll take me to the page where he did it, which was the first page, and I can see what he's talking about. Oh, loves the logo, and I can reply back and say, thanks. Not mine. I didn't create it, but thanks. Submit. So he gets that reply back in the browser. All right, Mark, go make a comment on another page where we can show what happens if it's on a page I'm not looking at.
I did. I just made a new one.
All right. And again, his comment comes in real time. Now, keep in mind, he's in a web browser. I'm in InDesign. So
Right.
here's Mark's comment in real time. This is a great photo. I have no idea which photo he's talking about. I click on it, and it takes me to a pinhead that's letting me see, oh, that's the photo he's talking about. Great. And again, wish I'd taken it. All right. So Mark's, again, I don't have to reply, but I reply back to him. Okay, yeah. Mark, suggest a change somewhere. Like suggest so we can see what a change would look like.
Yeah. So,
like some text or something that should
yeah. So let's do that. So I'll go over here and say, let's grab this, and I'll draw something around it and say.
And again, I don't know what he's doing, where he's doing it.
Okay.
And then we're going to go look at Mark make a comment the next time, so we can see how he actually makes the comments.
So I just made that.
All right. And can we make this font a little bigger? All right. I click on it, and so that's the text he's talking about. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm in InDesign, so I can work on this. I can say, oh, well, let me make that frame a little bigger. Mm-hmm. And he wants that type to be a little bigger, so let me go ahead and do it. I'm just going to go ahead and step the type up, make it bigger. Probably also increase the leading, but just for the sake of this review. Now, in this case, that wasn't just a compliment on a photo or a logo. He actually suggested a change, and I made the change. So I can actually go in now and say, I've resolved that. I've done that. I've made that change, and then the markup goes away. I can also go back to my review and update the link. So I can say, oh, let me update the link so he sees my change. He sees that I made it bigger. So when I update the link, when it's finished updating, he can refresh his page and actually see that I made the font bigger on that page. So again, instead of me having to make a whole new PDF, emailing it out to everyone with all the changes I make, that's the difference between the new review versus PDF comments.
Yep. And now that I just refreshed it, the text is bigger over here.
All right. So let's switch to Mark's screen.
Okay.
And Mark's going to show us how he's making those comments. So he sees the text that I just made bigger.
Yep.
And Mark, go to a different page and make a different comment so they can see the two types of comments you can make.
Okay, yeah.
Indicators you can make, I should say.
Yeah, so let's go. So basically, there's a couple of cool things here in the way that you can mark up, right? Because again, most of our clients aren't Adobe users. These are business managers, whoever. So for them reviewing, this is awesome. They can go in here and grab this little annotation tool. You could pick a color, which is something that we don't see in a lot of applications.
Okay, cool.
So if you
get to the color, wait.
So you click on this little swatch.
Okay, gotcha.
And basically, you could go in here and say, "Hey, green is for, Terry." I'm going to go in here and say, "Hey, let me draw around this." I'm just clicking and dragging, and then as soon as you're done drawing that, it gives you a little comment box. Now you can @ somebody, so if you wanted to tag them specifically, and they get a notification through Creative Cloud when you do that. But I can also just go in here and say, I thought we were making subtitles bold, ? Right.
Sure.
And then I would hit submit on this.
And I'm back in InDesign, and his comment just came through, by the way, and I see by the way, I'll just switch to it quickly so you can see what happened.
Right.
I see hang on, back to the comment window. I see the little green check mark because that's the color he chose that time.
Right.
So if I click on that, now I see his green mark that he just made. All right, let's switch back to Mark's screen. Show another way.
Yeah, so the second way that we've got, and I see someone in the comments asking the same question that we had, Terry, asking, hey, text highlight with comment like in a PDF. So the two ways that we mark up here in the browser.
Art. Art. We both
Yeah.
are like trying to search that feature and find that, like, because what instinctively what you'd want to do is highlight the text, then a comment would pop up like a PDF, and type in your comment.
Right.
Not in this, only in PDF. So in PDFs you can do that, not here, at least not in this version.
And I think what's probably logical for clients is me being able to explain, hey, you can draw with a pencil and mark up wherever you want, or you can go over here to this place a pin tool. And so I could go into a different area of this document and say, let's click on this guy right here. Now, again, you can pick different colors for those pins. So if I was going here and pick blue, you can see it actually changed it over to blue. So as long as you have that pin selected, you can move it around if you want to change a comment or if you accidentally click in the wrong place. So I changed my color in there, and then I'll just go in here and say, let's make bigger and crop tighter. Or if I was actually pretending to be a real client, I would just say, this is great, make it pop more. That would have an ambiguous edit. Hit submit. One of the questions that someone asked over here is, do you have to put your name in so you know the comments coming from you? No, not at all. And what's interesting about this, Terry and I played with this earlier, I'm logged into my Adobe Creative Cloud account right now. So what's cool is the comments that Terry's seeing on his side has my avatar in it. So, you know, as long as you don't have some nonsensical avatar that they won't recognize as being you, he can see that that's actually me.
Yeah,
now,
I'm seeing this come in from Mark Heaps with his avatar and everything, because he's signed into Creative Cloud even with a free Adobe ID. Someone signed into Creative Cloud would see that. Now, Mark, I know we practiced you trying to link in a Incognito window.
mm-hmm.
I think it asked you for a name, didn't it?
Yeah. So when we logged in earlier, and let me try it right now. Let me see if it'll actually happen, because you gave me that link. So I'm going to
try with an Incognito window as a different name and see what happens.
All right. So I'm copying the link address right now. Let's see. Are we on my screen or your screen? There we go. So go there. And then I'm going to create a new Incognito window, so it shouldn't know that it's me. And then if I go over here and I paste that URL, let's see what it comes up as. It's loading. Okay, so this one loaded up. I'm Incognito. Now, earlier when we did this, it asked me to put a name in. It hasn't asked me this time, but let's see what happens. Let's make a markup on something on this pin. We'll do a pin here. And then I'll say, this is a great shot. Go ahead and submit it. And you see you get a notification window. And this notification window gives you the option of, do you want to sign in with an Adobe ID, or do you want to continue as a guest? So you would put your name in as a guest. So I'll say, I am client.
Margaret Smith.
Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins. That's it.
And I'll hit continue. All right. And it says successfully logged in as guest. And then you can see there's a notification here that says I am client, made this comment. So Terry should now see that back in his side.
And there it is. I'm client came in with no avatar, obviously.
Right.
But at least I know who that person was, and even lets me know they're a guest.
Right.
Which is fine, because not everyone you're going to send these to is going to have a Creative Cloud account, let alone, forget that. Everyone you send this to is not going to have an Adobe ID.
Right.
So they can just as easily do this as a guest without having to log in, without having to do anything. As long as they have the link, they can submit their reviews.
Yeah. And I imagine this being, we were talking about some of the differences between this and PDF comments. Again, most of our clients in the sort of biz tech world, they don't, they're not going to have that account, right? So this enables me to be live in InDesign on the phone, them marking it up on their side, or they could even be having a meeting and just log in with one guest account while everyone in their meeting room is making suggestions and collaboration. And it removes that ambiguity of saying, wait, which picture? And we've all done this, right? The screen we're on right now, we've all said, okay, 3 pictures over from the top row down 4 pictures. You know what I mean? And you're trying to facilitate, which is a nightmare. So this just enables them to do that. And for the client, this interface is so simple, right? They can see their markup style. They can go look at pages. I'm still in the Incognito window, so this isn't my Adobe account. There's bookmarks in here too, if you had any bookmarks that were actually saved in. So this document, Terry's document, actually has an overview bookmark. So I could say, hey, go to bookmarks, click on overview. What's your thoughts on these pastel colors? They could go in here and say, hey, this one is really, really hard to read, right? For whatever reason. Go in here and say, at Terry White, right? I hit him up and say, too faded. And then I submit. And then Terry would get that back on his side and they could close that. So it's a really simple interface. And then you've got all your logical stuff. You've got page jumpers, zoom in, zoom out down in the bottom. You can even turn certain comment filters on and off. I think if it got much more complicated than this, then they start getting into the realm where it's harder for a client to collaborate with you. Because again, right, they're not design production people and they're not used to the style of the Adobe interface, right? So this is easy.
All right, so a couple questions. First of all, one from Sharon. So this is only for comments only. In other words, this is not like a Google Doc where people can literally go in and change the text. No, you're right. It's only for comments only.
Right.
And I would imagine that unlike a word processing or spreadsheet document, it's just a little harder with an InDesign document with all the things that InDesign can do to be able to make that available to users in a browser. So,
and you made the case earlier, Terry, where you said, you know, PDF comments and live edits from PDF comments that can be resolved. Terry's shown that before, but that's when you're collaborating with people that are production minded, right? This is really for like fast, speedy commentary feedback.
All right, and Lori's asking, so is the feature being rolled out across other Adobe apps like Illustrator? And that's usually the way it happens. It's always one product will get the feature first.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, well, I'd love to have that in Photoshop, love to have it in Illustrator, love to have it in XD, so forth and so on. So the answer to your question is, I can't tell you if I knew. But just note that history has always shown us that if a feature really goes over well, then the other teams pick it up. That's all.
I would definitely, just as an external non-Adobe employee, I would say that if you notice the URL that gets populated here, it says assets.adobe.com. This is connected to your Creative Cloud account. So with the technology that Adobe's been developing the last few years with Creative Cloud libraries and file assets, it's only logical that the infrastructure is all there for this to end up in the other programs, right? Because it's a central hub it's being shared to. So although Terry might get in trouble saying yes or no, I would be willing to roll dice that this is going to show up at some point in the future. I'm hoping.
Mark, who has no skin in the game, so you can make that prediction.
I'm hoping.
All right, so here's another question. What's this? Alien Nation Free Zone. Okay, so can you unpublish once the document's been checked so nobody gets insights if they're not supposed to? Absolutely. So we were testing this back and forth, and to start a new one, I would just remove the old review, and then he would be able to comment. So let me show you how that looks. If I go back to my share panel, I have the ability to go in. There we go. And I can use this little menu and I can delete the review. So once we're all done, once the document's updated, once the document, like I no longer need feedback, I can just delete the review and then the review goes away and no one else can make more comments.
Yeah, something I want to test there, Terry, is you also see there's a button there on your screen that says create new review.
Yep.
And what I'm curious about that is, does that mean I can create individual review links for different groups? So I could send it to one client, send another client, and they wouldn't see each other's comments. That's something I want to test after this.
Well, let's do it. Create a new one. So does it override the other one?
That's a good question.
Add it.
Because I would love to be able to send, sometimes we have partner groups that we collaborate with. I would love to be able to get comments from one group and then another group, and I see them all in InDesign, but they don't see each other's comments.
All right, I just clicked on the link rather than copying it. And let me send it to you again.
Okay.
Look. New Mark number 2. Paste. Send.
All right, I'm watching my email.
All righty.
All right, number 2 just came across. I can already see compared to the last email that it is, in fact, a different URL. So let's see what we get here.
Now, I still have your comments from before.
Right, so I'm going to actually create a new incognito window so it doesn't know that I'm logged in. Hopefully you made that public.
Oh, good question. If not, I can update it.
Okay, let's see. It says opening document, and I see no comments on this screen. So that is a fresh collaboration. I'm going to go put in a pin somewhere.
But here's what here's what I think it did. Let me see something real quick. Oh, no, I see them both. Okay, so I just chose manage review on the web, on the browser. I just want to see what happened. And I see the ones from that one.
All right, I just put a new pin in. So theoretically in your documents, you should
I got it.
Yep, there it goes.
There's your new pin. I see it over there. And yeah, I can. So it looks like only one review, from what I could tell just in this quick test, one review in the comment panel at a time. But when I clicked the manage reviews, I was able to go see the other reviews in the browser.
Right. So you go to the pullout.
And the question is asked. Hang on, let me show this. Mads is asking, are the comments still visible in InDesign after a review is deleted? No, they're not. So when you delete the review, you're also deleting the comments. So good question.
Yeah, and I noticed that earlier when Terry said he'd made an edit, when he made that text bigger and he basically like approved that edit, it disappeared on my side in the browser as well. So something we noted earlier that was interesting, and I don't have it up right now, but even though those edits were removed from the comment feedback, one thing that happens is Creative Cloud, as you're working on this document, will send you an email with a list of the comments people made, and you can use that as a log to track the comments and edits that were suggested in your email log. So I found that to be a really handy feature that if I ever need to go back and say, hey, what did John say about this? It would at least be in that email.
All right, so here's an interesting question from Jordan, and just going to be like one of the last questions. So we're out of time. How will it show up when people first open the file? Will it be a print version, or will the guides and such show up for them too? So
in the browser,
I assume that's what they're asking. So
yeah.
Like, for example,
so I think, the best way to really think about this is it's basically an HTML surface preview, right? So like I'm on the screen right now. There is no way to
not seeing my text frames or anything.
No, I can't see your guides. I can't see any of that. But one thing that I will point out is even though this is in a browser, it's not doing like a weird create a JPEG of each page, right? So actually, here's the text that Terry made larger earlier. I can actually highlight this text, copy it, go into a comment, hit paste,
and reword it.
And I could reword it and say, use this text here.
And I could copy and paste it back in.
You could copy and paste it back in, right? So yeah, let's do exactly that. I'll go in here and say, use this updated text. And I'll go in here and say I'm not good with the words. So we'll just say the pluralist is starting Playfest. And then I will submit that. And then Terry will get to see that new copy over there, and he would be able to copy and paste that back in and update the InDesign file.
All right, let me switch back to mine. And let me go to my comment window once again. You know what? I'm tired of the thing hiding. I'm just going to tear it off.
And that other question that Jordan said, is it a print version? How will it show up for them too? I don't think this is really intended for them to print from the browser. This is really not a delivery vehicle for your final file or your final assets like a package would be or a PDF would be. This is purely focused on collaboration with your clients.
Right. And I just pasted your text in and even maintained the style. But if it didn't, I would use a style sheet to restyle it.
Totally. So yeah, so that's one of those workarounds for, hey, can my client highlight the text and put an edit in there? Well, again, depending on how many collaborators you have, and I've experienced this with other programs online that make this a bit challenging, maybe you don't want them live editing and updating your InDesign file. What we really want is to have a capture of their feedback that I can edit with.
All right. And Sharon says the log is good to know. So I agree. I didn't know about that either. I hadn't played with it long enough to get the email. So good. Now you got that email as a reviewer or as the author? You got it as the author, right?
I got it as the author. So it sent me a notification that said, and actually, if you cut over to my screen real quick, Terry.
Sure.
You can see at the top here, there's an email called New Replies on Playfest. And so this is what it's growing, right? I said, love this logo. You said, thanks, not mine. This is a great photo. I wish I'd taken it.
Right.
It's slowly building up that log and that thread of all of our comments and feedback coming from the Creative Cloud account. Now, I didn't create that file. I wasn't the author of that file, but my Creative Cloud account was logged in for these comments. So because Terry and I were collaborating, both of us as having an Adobe ID, I'm getting this email. Whereas when I logged in as a guest, I'm not going to get this email because there was no email address for me as the guest. So this is an advantage. If your collaborators do have an Adobe ID, you both would get a copy of the comments and feedback.
Very cool. All right. Well, folks, those were a lot of good questions, and you help us explore some of the things we hadn't even looked at yet. I want to thank everyone for joining us on this impromptu Adobe Live on our June 2020 launch day. Adobe Live is going on all day, so it's b.net/Adobe Live for those that want to go check out more streams and more content. I streamed first thing this morning on the new features in the photography tools. So if you want to go check out my replay, you can do that on my YouTube or on the Creative Cloud YouTube as well. Or on b.net/Adobe Live, the replay is there. And hang on, I'm an educator. Can students ask questions if they need technical help in this way? Well, it depends on what you mean by in this way. You mean the comment feature or the live stream? The live stream, sure, we take comments and we take questions just like we've done now. But we're not tech support. So if it's a support, hey, my computer's not working right kind of thing, tweet to @AdobeCare and they can walk you through resolving whatever it is you're having technical problems with. But if it's just questions on how things work, yeah, that's kind of that's why we do live streams, so that we can interact with the audience. Otherwise, I could just record a video and never have time to go look at the comments. So this way, it's easier for me to interact with people live. And right now we're streaming to the InDesign Facebook page, YouTube, and Twitter at the same time. So you came in on Twitter. So thanks, everybody. And thanks, Mark. You were extremely helpful today and helping me test all this and get all this shown. And you see how impossible this would be with one person trying to show it.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy. Always happy to jump in and help you guys out. And thanks to everybody from around the world for watching.
And Mark, what do you have coming up next? Like anything people should know about?
We just finished Creative Pro Week, which is creativeproweek.com. There's a lot of great free content on the YouTube page for Creative Pro Week. And I'm about to be doing another event with Kelby Media coming up here in a couple of weeks, where I'll be doing a bunch of Photoshop lessons and tutorials. Otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter @LifeByPixels, and I update with tutorials, tips, and things there. I also have a Facebook page, which is @LifeByPixels. Don't go to my personal page; just go to the @LifeByPixels page, and I post a lot of stuff there as well. So there you go. Appreciate it.
All right, and Carol or Colleen, and also the other person that came in late. Yes, there will be a replay as soon as we click the end button, which I'm about to do. The video will be live in a couple of minutes after, and you can watch it from the beginning. So if you missed anything, or if you missed how we got started with the review, you can go back and watch it as much as you want. All right. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye.